It's break time! Welcome to our newest episode. It's your co-host, Rissy Ray.
Hey.
And yours truly, Kaninja. So, Rissy, we're going to be on the same topic as dating. I know we're in break time. We got 30 minutes. But when is it an okay time to say you were actually in a relationship from talking to boyfriend, girlfriend, or exclusive?
You know, that's something I am personally dealing I am personally dealing with this right now. So Breaker Buddies, I personally have not been in a serious committed relationship in over 3 years. So that's me and my story. Kaninja, no whole shit, you know what I mean?
So what Rissy's saying is that so Rissy, it's been a minute for Rissy in a serious relationship, but it has not for me. It's been a few months since our serious relationship. So Breaker and Buddies, if you have been following in our past episodes, we always had a name for my fiance. Well, my fiance is no longer my fiance, so
he's dead.
He's dead. Newly single, so definitely two different perspectives.
Yeah. But equals the same result. You single now.
Exactly. So Rissy, what are your thoughts on this, the whole thing, when it comes to being in a relationship?
It's super complicated because it's like when you first meet a lot of people, because I've been meeting people because of COVID through dating. So if it's not Facebook dating, Match.com, eHarmony, which is expensive, OkCupid. So I've been doing that to meet different people, and so everyone has like more or less a profile. My profile is very simple. I said add me on Snap. Mm-hmm. It's just so super simple. You can call me. You know, I avoid the whole weird what you look like. Send me what you look like, because that's it.
Mm-hmm.
This is as recent as I get, and it's like sometimes it just depends. Like some people are upfront and they'll say, I just want to just hang out and see what happens, right? So for some people, I'll hang out and I might like their vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's when you're in a relationship. To say it is when you're exclusive. Mm-hmm. But everyone's process of being exclusive is so different. I've met people who the first date want to be exclusive. Mm-hmm. I met people who after they said maybe a couple weeks want to be exclusive, and I'm just like, because I feel like with my fear is that representative. Right. Like you just get the good. I'm not really, because I'm usually meeting people when they're in a better place in their lives. Like they're over here, like, yeah, I went through this, but I persevered. So you're like, okay, so like I would say when you exclusive, but at the same time,
right?
It's hard. Like, what's your thoughts on that? Gosh, relationships, man.
It is. I mean, like, it's hard because of the age that we're in too. So like, it's not like we're back in high school anymore and we're like, oh, we're boyfriend, girlfriend. And it's like, it's really like not a big deal to be saying you're boyfriend, girlfriend or exclusive. But like at our age now, it's a big deal. Like that's a whole nother step where you're like, okay, we're exclusive now. Then that means that the next step is either marriage or whatever the case, depending on the situation. Like that's a very real next step. And that can be scary. That can be very scary, especially if you haven't been in a serious relationship in a while, determining on what the situation was, or you've been in a very long serious relationship and you're like, what's dating? Like, what is this? And then you start dating. And then it's like, I don't even know. You start dating and then people want to be in a serious relationship where, depending on your past, that's also scary. Because you're like, wait, I haven't, so break room buddies, I haven't dated since I was, let's just say 12 years ago. So dating life when I was 12 years ago versus now is completely different. And if I just go from one serious to another serious, that's serious. So, so I mean, go ahead, Rissy.
Well, first of all, you have to be able to have a changed mindset and change behavior. Okay, that's one thing that I noticed, that when, let's say I've spoken to someone, and now I'm starting to drop some of my hoes. I'm like, okay, so I notice when I start spending less time with my hoes is when I feel like, okay, I'm getting closer to the inclusivity of it all and to a relationship. I feel like when I naturally do it, like not where I feel like, oh, well, I can't talk to this person, this person, this person. What I naturally, I'm like, I'm spending time with, this guy, I can try to keep PG. So put little like dolphin noise, like a SpongeBob dolphin noise over here. But he's over here with my dude, and I got a dude hit me up and he said, hey, I'll eat you. Don't even have to do shit. Just come here, dress. Oh, okay. All right. I know this is A1. That's why he still has my number. And all I gotta do is show up. I don't have to do nothing. He's telling me all I gotta do is show up. But this guy I've been talking to the last couple of weeks, we've been hanging out, spending time together, type deal. But he can eat. Oh my God. When I start choosing, you versus the other types of services, I think that's for me. Exactly. Like, okay, you top tier.
Yep.
Top tier. When I start choosing you above my host.
Exactly. But that's the thing too, because like when you're exclusive, there's that extra layer of obligation where, especially Rissy, since you've been single for so long, you're used to doing whatever you want to do. And so that like the obligation is just like, no, I just want to do what I want to do. I don't want to feel obligated. I want to just do it because I want to. Kind of like what you're saying about, getting rid of your hose. Like you're doing it when you want to, not because you have to,
Oh yeah. Because I have guy friends who I haven't messed with, and then I have guy friends who I have messed with that are really great, been there for me guy friends. And if someone were to come in my life and we're talking and they see a phone number come up, I mean, I'm not gonna have my phone, I pay for it. See, my problem, I pay the phone bill. And they see like a name, and I'm like, oh, that's the dude. And they're like, did you ever? I'm like, yeah, yeah, absolutely. That was for 4 years.
Absolutely.
Not going nowhere. Yeah. And they're like, hey, I'm gonna need you to start talking to them. Okay, bye. And then we don't need to do this. Because I'm like, oh, you give me, I don't like ultimatums. I'm like, I want to, like you said, I want to feel like, you know what? Guy friend. I mean, that's probably what I'm gonna happen with this one, but I'm just saying. In theory. I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying, honey bun. Especially since I can see myself, separating myself from this person, like something like that. Naturally, not because you're telling me to. And I think that's when I know, like, hey, I think I might want to be in a relationship type deal.
Right.
It has to feel comfortable. Like, I don't know. It's like now being older, it's like the process is so quick.
Yes.
Like, it's not like how, like, when that happens, right? When you're young, your parents or your loved ones are saying, hey, don't why buy the cow if you get the milk for free? Right. You're like, oh, okay. So you over here like, hey, we've been together for 2 years. We never did it. We're saving ourselves for marriage, blah, 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 blah. And that works for some people. We're not saying that it's not attainable. Right. But after you cross that bridge and the relationship doesn't work, how intimacy. Right. To me, and this is gonna sound bad, and I hope my baby never hears this. But just because we doesn't mean we're exclusive.
I love this is the time that you decide to be censored. And then all the other times right in the beginning, you're just like, nope, P, D. But now you're like, I don't want to say the S.
I don't want to say yes, but if my baby might see this floating in the internet one day, like, that's my mom. Let me hear my mom. Yeah, we getting the night, you know.
But anyway, but you're right though, because like how quickly you get intimate, especially at our age, is so quick. You know, of course, like you said, you can choose to not be intimate, but like for that certain amount of time. But it is extremely quick, a lot quicker than I expected. Again, 12 years. I come out and I'm like, this is happening. So, but exactly. But then it gets to the point of when is someone ready to be exclusive? So you're saying is really when you be ready is when you want to stop talking to your host. And that's where you're like, okay, I want to be more exclusive to this other person. So there's no timetable. It's just a gradual thing for you.
And this is very unreliable, but it's how I'm feeling. It's how I feel.
And that's
so
valid.
I feel good. Like I feel good about this. Because like I said, intimacy, like I used to use that as a as a way to kind of gauge certain things. Like, okay, after the third day, that's my golden rule. After my third day, I've hung out with you multiple times. I won't mind, doing the do. But again, it doesn't scream exclusivity like they were a relationship, because I just want to try to make sure it's not whack, because then now I gotta figure out how much work I gotta do. I like you as a person. Now I gotta figure out how much work I gotta do now.
Right. Exactly. Because I mean that's huge, especially when your intimacy is a big part for you. You gotta know like how well they do the do, and if they don't do the do pretty well, then that says a lot about if you want to be exclusive with them.
Oh yeah, I'm hella. This sounds bad, but I'm super conflicted. I said, and there's no formula. I don't have a formula. So I know people are like, oh, I love big ones. I love the big ones. I'm like, I don't like the big ones. Those big ones will have you like mess up your whole bowel system. Like, if you ever deal with like a big old, and then
a big old fish,
a big old fish, a big one. We got me a big one. And you over here, you know what I'm saying, and you getting, oh my goodness, you don't think you're not gonna be in the toilet, even if you didn't even put in your ass, you're gonna be in the toilet, like something about your insides fucked up, so you're not gonna pee for a couple. Like something has occurred, okay? I don't like that. I don't like the big ones. I mean, it depends how the big ones are. It's more technique. I'm more of a technique person. So if I don't like your technique, I'm like, okay, you're nice, but your technique's whack. I don't like your recipe.
Right.
Like, who? But see, the problem with me, if the recipe is thebomb.com, I get stupid. I'm like, okay.
I'm in love.
Hold on. So what are we? That so when I deal with when the recipe is good, I'm like, hold on. Okay, so what are you? I just want to clarify that
before I jump full head, like head in first.
Because we're about to be together. We're about to be together right now, okay? I'm just saying, we're about to be together, and I don't need that right now in my life. You know what I mean? Okay, you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm just hearing your ringtone.
Oh shit! I'm so sorry.
And so I don't want to keep talking because I cannot edit that out.
Oh see, I thought it was one way, but thanks for letting me know. I thought it was one way.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah. So that's why I just didn't talk anymore. But anyway.
What about you, Kaninja? How important does that, like, meeting parents, meeting your kids?
So for me, you have to be exclusive to take the next step to meet the parents.
Okay.
Even then, like, it's got to be admitted. Like, at least for me, for my parents, it's important for my parents to like the person I'm with, and to them, for them to make a good impression. I don't want to keep bringing random guys to my parents like every 2 weeks if it's not going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because then it's just going to a revolving door. Like, I want to make sure, hey, I really like this guy. You know, we're together, we're exclusive. Now you can meet my parents. Now my parents will know about them, you know, like that's fine, you know, but I'm not going to have you actually physically meet face to face. You know, if we're just talking, then that's it. We're just talking and you're not meeting my family. You know, that's like exclusivity. Next step, family.
Randos. I'm not bringing randos to my parents.
Exactly. Because the thing is like the next thing that comes from that. So this is how I see in my head is that you're dating. So you have your talking, and then you have, you know, you're dating, you're like your girlfriend, boyfriend, and then you meet the parents, and then talks of marriage. You know, so that parents portion is like such a serious thing for me where I'm like, for me personally now, I'm not ready for something like that serious. Like, I just got out of a long relationship. I just want to have some fun. Like, can we just have some fun?
You want to do some bald-headed hoe shit all year round. I understand.
Exactly. So it's just like, I don't want to come from a serious relationship, go into another serious relationship. So like kind of going back to like when it is for me, it's more or less where I feel comfortable with putting in my 110%, you know, going full on.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Me too. Because right now I'm half-assing it right now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
Exactly. Because I mean, we know like Rissy and I are when we're in a relationship, we go 100 plus. Like that we put everything in. So it's like very important to us that like the person that we decide to be in a relationship with deserves that percentage of effort. And it will take a while for that person to prove themselves if they want to deserve that 100+%, you know. And then if they deserve that 100+% per our judgment, then we can be exclusive, and then things can be a little bit more serious because then you feel comfortable being like, okay, you're not going to screw me over. I'm going to put all this effort in and you're not going to betray me by taking advantage. And that kind of goes with past relationships and all that stuff.
Yeah, because I'm fighting. I choose violence. I'm like, do not do, and that's why it's so that and I feel like a lot of people right now with the dating culture it is right now, they're like, hey, before I put my 110% in this bug, I'm gonna need to know, are you on some BS or not? Because if you're on some BS, you need to be on BS with other people who are on BS.
Right.
Because I am not like I tell people up the gate that I'm talking to that, you know, we're leaving. I'm like, hey, if you take me out of these streets, okay, and you say we together and you want some BS, I'm fighting. I'm choosing violence, and I'm not a proponent. Just leave me alone.
Right.
Leave me alone.
I want to stay on these streets.
I want to stay on these streets. Let me enjoy the streets, what the streets can provide for me. Okay. They have for me because it's like, and I think that's where a lot of people like, and I'm not even saying like just in a relationship. I see when a lot of people when they decide to get married, I see that where it's like they're very very like, hey, I'm thinking like you already committed because you together, right? Like that's what we're thinking for you to get that point. But they're like, a lot of people are like, hey, I want to know that I know that I know that I know. This is more, and I'm just like, oh, really? Like to me, I'm thinking like if I move in with someone or vice versa, we're living together, that's serious,
right?
You know, that's something serious. But for some people, it's not. It's there, but it's like some people say it's more like a survival situation where it's like, hey, you know, I like you and that, and hey, you can pay half on the rent, and then like type deal where you know you know, the rent that's give me an even of 1,000,
right,
and I'm paying 1,000 out of pocket. Now we're both paying 5.
right.
So like income wise, it helps with take care of other things, things like that. So I was like, but I'm like, moving is very, very, to me, it's a big deal. But then some people, when it comes to being intimate, you know, that's a big deal for them. So I was like, you know, okay, I'll calm down. Cause I was like, oh, but you're living together. Like, isn't that like commitment enough for you guys to be married? And they're like, no, not necessarily.
Well, see, that's hard too, because I totally get what you're saying. Because if they're living together, they're literally learning each other's habits, like how they live. Like, is the person OCD, you know? And if you're not, you know, and then is that going to work? Because if that person, and no shade against people who are OCD, but if someone who is not OCD, it's going to drive the other person crazy, and vice versa. You know, that's really when you figure out, can we live together? Can we be married? You know, can I live with you and not want to kill you? You know, I feel like that's a hell of a lot more intimate than just the physical portion. You know, the physical portion is just skin.
So you're right, because I'll be leaving dishes in there for like a whole week and a half. I said, and I'm like, hey, I guess I need some dishes.
Favorite place.
That's what you gonna fix all that, babe. With your OCD help yourself. Okay, I'm gonna fix all this. What? Paper plates.
Paper plates.
It's just ugh. Like it's. And like I said, everybody wants to know that they know, because people be living double lives out here, Kaninja. Like, people be coming out, but you're over here thinking we good, and they got a whole family. You're like, what? When did you have the time to have a family?
We were just talking. We were hanging out like every day. Like, what happened?
Yeah, like, where were you? Like, what? And I think that's a lot that people gotta really think about.
Yeah.
Because some people say, like, to me, you meet my child is big. But if there was already an emergency, you may have already seen her anyway. Like, if I'm hanging out with a dude and my parents are like, hey, we got something going on, like it's an emergency, can you pick little one up? Then if I'm with the dude, I'm like, hey, if we're together, I'm coming to pick my baby up with him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's an emergency situation. I'm like, right. Don't look into it too much. Like, don't look into it too much. It's just because it's an emergency.
It's not official.
You wouldn't even know what she even looked like. Okay.
Right.
If I didn't pick her baby self up, you know?
Exactly. Well, it's not official, you know? So it's just like, you just happen to be in the car with me, and this happened situation to be here. I'm going to pick her up, but it's not officially you're meeting my daughter, you know? So, yeah.
Grab me by the throat. That's it. That's what I know we together. My bad. I'm sorry. I had to think about it, Breaker Buddies. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to cut you off, Kaninja. The topic is, when do you know that you're exclusive? We said things about being intimate, meeting family, you know, kids, talk about well, we didn't talk about this. Talk about the future. So me, well, no, I want to put Kaninja on the spot. So Kaninja, when with your current you, we've been talking about other people, when do you know you are in a relationship?
That is hard. So I guess for me, it's gonna be very different than Rissy. So I guess for me it is kind of going back to where I feel comfortable enough to give that 110%, where I'm like, yeah, I want you to be more involved in my life. And so, and then I'm like, okay, I want to be in a relationship, you know, instead of thinking, if this person just stops talking to me, am I gonna have an issue?
You're like, how do I feel? Am I come see, come side? Am I neutral? Like, if you just stop talking to me yesterday, how would I feel about it?
If I'm neutral, then I'm not ready for a relationship. You know, so
you're like, I understand.
Yeah. So you go ahead, Rissy.
This is how I feel when I know that I'm in a relationship, when I know we are, okay, is when we're doing the do, okay. Oh wait, no, he didn't. What did I say? What was my fantasy? You didn't have to do it, right? It could be just regular.
Yeah, just grabbing.
Grab me by the throat, lightly, of course, and just whisper gently in my ear and tell me
I'm impersonating you right now.
We're together. Right? Was that it?
Basically, but that depends, right?
Okay. And I'm only saying this is a little bit of story time. A dude tried to do that. Like, he was just like, what would you like? I'm like, I want to do, like, grab my throat, be like, hey, we together. Like, we're doing this together. The dude did it, and I'm just like, you don't have a car. Like,
exactly. Oh my gosh.
I you here. Yeah, that's not gonna work.
So Rissy has a lot of very specifics of what determines her to be in a relationship. And mine's very vague, especially at this point. But
mine's very vague.
But it makes sense if you think about it. So break room buddies, whenever you're in a relationship or you're out of one and you're dating, kind of look at your own situation. So like kind of going back to what we said in the beginning, Rissy and I have very different backgrounds when it comes to dating, and how long we've been single and so on and so forth. So it makes sense, like where for Rissy, since it was like 3 years ago, you were saying that, you're in a serious relationship. So like now you're fairly clear as to this is what I want in a relationship. This is what needs to happen for me to be in a relationship. Where I just got out of one, 2 months ago, where I'm like,
damn, really?
Yeah, it's been 2 months, August. And so I'm just like, I still don't know. Like, I'm I still have fear about commitments at this point.
Oh, yeah.
So, but as far as break room buddies, when it comes to being in a relationship, especially in our age, it is very vague. It is very general when it comes to what considers being a relationship. But like, I strongly advise not assuming you're in a relationship. It needs to be clear. It needs to be asked. You can't just assume, like, just because this is XYZ has happened that we are already together. No, that's not the case. It kind of goes back to, in my head, consent. Like, I didn't consent to be your girlfriend. I didn't consent to be in a relationship with you. Ask me and then we can have a conversation about it. But don't just assume because of XYZ. And so, but with that, we are about to go off of our break. We're going to go back to work.
Yes.
So we are going to end with our final thoughts. Rissy.
Yes. So my final thoughts, I know in 30 seconds. I know what 30 seconds feels like. Great topic, Kaninja, as always. Dating is such a jungle out there. I hope you guys stay safe. I hope you guys stay safe mentally, okay, for it. It's whatever you guys feel comfortable. Make sure you guys have a conversation about it. When are you guys exclusive? Because I hate to be the person to think we're exclusive and we're not. Okay? And that is my 30 seconds.
Awesome. And Rissy, you couldn't have said it better. I couldn't have said it better myself. So yes, absolutely. Do what makes you feel more comfortable. Listen to your gut and communicate. Kind of like what Rissy was saying. It's just, you need to communicate what's going on. Don't assume of things. Like, especially when it comes to our ages, it is something. Over communication is better than lack thereof. So if you are unsure, or even if you are starting to assume, ask those questions. It is very important, because that next step could mean the world to someone, or it can mean nothing at all. And having that conversation can make or break you, especially if you want to have that relationship. So be very careful and be very open and honest with the person that you want to be with. So with that, that is our final thoughts. We got to get back to work. Rissy, what are you gonna do? What's your plan for work?
Damn, I didn't know we were supposed to do that. I gotta finish this boba tea. I gotta take out the trash, and I gotta write a novel, and that's what I gotta do.
Sounds like you're pretty busy for work. I gotta go finish my water. I gotta do some schoolwork.
Okay, give me a third thing. Give me a third thing.
I gotta go take care of the dog.
Love you. Oh, sorry. Sorry, my bad.
So, Breaker Buddies, make sure you like, comment, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Share, make sure you share with your friends. Let us know what your thoughts are when it comes to dating and entering into a relationship. Also, make sure to check us out on our Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Our Facebook usually has our updates on there. Sometimes we'll do our live videos on there. So make sure to check that out. Give us your feedback. What do you think? When is it ready for you to be in a relationship when you're dating? What makes the most sense for you? Give us your thoughts. We would love to hear it. With that, bye, Breaker Buddies.
Bye.
See you next time.